And it's just been like a doozy, to say the least. It's giving Afrofuturism, honey. Okay, hi, welcome and or welcome back to my channel. My name is Donna Kebra and I make space for radical bad bitch shit. If that sounds good to you, then you are in the right place. And if you're just like, what the hell does that mean? Stick around and find out. Okay, so forgive me if you can hear frogs. It is like 2 in the morning and it's been raining all day. So there are frogs that are just right there. There's like a body of water kind of close-ish to my window. So yeah, the frogs. Okay, when the rain is away, the frogs will play. Okay, so I came down here because I wanted to do a like, where have I been kind of video for me to just be held like accountable, but then also just be transparent and honest with the trajectory of like what I expect from my channel, what I expect for just the relationship that I have with the people that already support me. I want to just be able to express like, hey, I've been a little inconsistent. It's not because of choices of my own. And, you know, like, where have I been? It's been months since I posted a video on YouTube in particular and on all social medias, to be honest. Yeah, it's been a while since I posted on social media or any online platform. So I just feel like I want to create some type of explanation, I guess, or like some type of like impromptu-ish just accountability slash transparent situation. So that is why we're here. I know I probably look different than I normally do, but that's just because, yeah, I wanted to feel as much as myself as possible. And I feel like I'm in my true form in this way. Like, I feel very like, it's giving Afrofuturism, honey. And that's like literally my entire being. It's just Afrofuturism, like on top of Afrofuturism. So I feel very comfortable in this way, and I feel like me showing up in this way will allow me to really express myself in a way that's like honest and from my heart, from my gut, from my feet, and from like my higher self. So bam, here we go. You see, I've been gone, but baby, I've been in practice. Okay. So honestly, like I feel like the trajectory of like change and shift for me came initially from me going through my Saturn return. And if you're not familiar with what a Saturn return is, that is when like you turn around the age of like 27-ish and a half, between like 27 and 32, 33, depending on when your Saturn, depending on what year you were born, your Saturn return happens for you. So I turned 28 last year, but I would say my Saturn return began like the year before that, like 6 months before. I would say like maybe 8 months before I turned 28. So last year was 2023. So like the middle, like in the spring of 2022, I believe the remnants of the Saturn return started to begin. You know, like if you're familiar with like cycles and like body cycles, whether it's like with a period, whether it's with like the moon or any type of cycle, there's usually like trickles before the flood. So I feel like my Saturn return, the trickle was like spring, summer of 2022. And I say that because I feel like the whole there's like lessons in your Saturn return. If you don't know what Saturn return is, it's when like you turn 27, 28-ish, like right before you turn 30. And there are like themes that constantly come up in your life that allow you to question, you know, like purpose and like whether or not you're growing or your spiritual like awakening and things like that. So it's honestly based off of the year that you were born, and it's different for everybody. And just depending on the year that you're born, when you turn 27, there is like this life lesson that you should be like capturing for yourself. So mine started when I was still 27, about to turn 28, like maybe 6 months before I turned 28. And I knew, I'm reflecting back on it now and it seems so apparent now, but it's because the biggest thing that I've been dealing with, at least recently, when it comes to being like in the core and like the eye of the storm of my Saturn return, is me losing the job that I was so happy and proud of having. So I had this job, great job, big girl job, right? Salary job, making good money, right? And it was fantastic. Everything was great. Like, I worked my way up in that position. I was working for a nonprofit that was like supporting different communities within multiple states. It was just fantastic. I felt really comfortable there, really at home. So I had this Saturn return, and I'm still going through my Saturn return. I'm 29 this year, and like, based on research that I've done, I'm still going to be going through this Saturn return until I'm like, I think 31 or 32. So buckle in, baby. We're going in for a ride. But essentially, yeah, like the remnants of me realizing that, okay, something was going on and shifting in my particular universe was when the job that I worked so hard to get and the organization that I was working in and was so proud to be working in was going to close down. So I was like working really hard, like telling all the other coworkers of mine, like, hey, we can fight this thing. We don't have to just go down on this sinking Titanic ship if we don't want to. Like, if we want to fight to keep this organization going, I'm the one who processes payroll, and I'm the one who does like the hiring and like the onboarding and the offboarding and all the other like staff things that are really important to an organization. I can strike and I can like have certain demands because of the power that I hold within this organization. But the people that I was talking to, I don't know if I was maybe saying it too soon, but they didn't seem inspired in that moment. And they were just like, I don't know. Like, let's just see where it goes. Like, let's just see what happens. And I'm like, let's just see. We know that it's closing. We know where it's going. Anyways, long story short, I feel like the feelings eventually switched, and eventually the people that I was talking to, they did get sparked up. They did feel inspired. They did have that motivation to want to fight. But in that moment afterwards, I was just like, I'm not, it was like months later and I just wasn't feeling it anymore. And I feel like we're coming to the close. Now we're coming to the end. Like, we should have fought when we had more time and more like availability to plan and have strategy. That's neither here nor there. Everything happens for a reason. I don't fault those people or anything like that. I still have love for them, and like, shout out to them. I still communicate with a majority of those people. So, it's no harm, no foul in that region. But in that moment, once my job started to be shifty, I knew something was changing in my universe. And this was in like 2022 when I first heard this information. So we fast forward to 2023, which was last year, and I was still working there because of the role that I had in the organization. I still had to stick around in order to like close some things off and things like that. So I was still there. I'm of course still looking for a job. Like, I've been looking for, I started applying for jobs once I realized, okay, this organization is closing, blah, blah, blah. I was kind of throwing my feelers out there just to see what I was getting. And then, by the way, I was in a city that was not my hometown. So I'm in like a state that's not my home. And I was just like figuring things out, like, okay, I'll be able to find a job here. Or, like now since a lot of jobs are remote, I'll be able to find a job that is remote. So fast forward, and wasn't able to do that. So like, I applied for, I would say like now present day today, I applied to probably at least like 300 something jobs. But in that moment, it had to be like maybe close to 100, like maybe like 75 jobs I applied to in that moment, like 75 to 100 jobs I applied to when I realized, I'm like, okay, whatever. So the timeline that we're in right now, I would just say the end of 2023. So let's just say like summer of 2023, going into the end of 2023, where it's like the fallish. I'm applying for jobs. I'm like, okay, like, I've been saving money. I knew that this was coming, and I saved enough money to be able to like pay out for a majority of the rest of the year. But the year's coming to an end, and I still haven't got me a job. So I'm just like, what the hell is going on? So then I realized, I'm like, okay, I'm in my Saturn return, and I've heard horror stories of Saturn returns, and I've heard like Saturn returns are definitely a thing. Yeah, like once I realized that, I'm like, oh, okay. So things are just not going to be the same anymore for me, because Saturn returns, there's a lesson in the reason why your Saturn is returning for you specifically. So anyways, I ended up like getting a job through one of my siblings. I got a job, and it wasn't a job that I was like comfortable with or familiar with. It was something that was out of the scope of experience that I've had before. And it felt kind of like I have to be honest, it felt very like I felt overqualified, because in all honesty, I was like in the position that I'm in, it's essentially like just call center-ish. Let's just say that. I'm not going to say exactly where I work right now since I'm still working there, but let's just say it's call center adjacent, right? It is work from home, so that's great. And, like, it pays more than I would say other jobs. So it pays more than in-person jobs. However, I'm making like a quarter of what I used to make. So yeah, I'm making like 75% less than what I'm used to making. So let's just say it's been an adjustment. And yeah, I'm like saying all of this to say like it's been like such a shift in what it is that I've had to do. I've still was able to create content. I still have been putting things out because I've been dealing with not having a job for like almost for being unemployed for like almost it's been like almost 2 years at this point. I'm employed now, and I've been employed since the end of last year. And also, like, it's just been a very interesting shift of having to get comfortable with what it is that I'm doing because of the fact that I'm making so much less money than I was beforehand. It's just it's a slapper. Okay, it's given very much could have had a V8. Okay, it woke me up. Okay, cold water in the face. So all of that, but I was still like creating things. I was still posting on social media. I was still like putting out content and making videos and making music and like editing pictures and just the things that bring me joy and my heart's desire. Like it was still happening for me. So it was totally fine. Like whatever. And then, yeah, but because I was making less money, I was like, okay, my lifestyle has to shift. I'm going to have to find somewhere that I can afford, like to live. I'm going to have to cut back on certain things that I used to practice and like things that I used to do, things that I used to spend money on that I'm realizing I don't necessarily need to spend money on those things. So, like definitely a humbling experience, but then also like I love new stuff. Like I love new beginnings. But I don't like endings. So it was fun to look for like, oh my gosh, okay, so now I'm going to be able to practice different things. Like let's just say, for example, like getting my eyelashes done or getting my nails done, things like that. Like I know how to do my own eyelashes. I've been knowing how to do my own eyelashes. But it's just like fun and an experience. You feel more like, ooh, like plushy and stuff like that when you go get your nails done, when you go get your eyelashes done. But I'm like, I know how to do my own nails. I've been knowing how to do that since I was like a literal child, like 5 years old. I know how to do my own eyelashes. I've known how to do that since like high school. So I'm like, okay, these are things that I'm going to be able to like create new routines for and practices. So I was actually pretty excited to like get more in tune with my hands and being more crafty and things like that. But it was still very bittersweet for me because there was an ending of an era of like where I was living and like just being able to like go certain places and do certain things and stuff like that. So it was really hard for me to like realize that there was an ending happening here. But then I was able to kind of like circumvent that because there was such a like more beginnings. So it was very bittersweet like coming to that realization. Girl. So because this brings me on to the next thing that I want to say, which is the fact that I had to move. So I actually ended up moving 2 times within 30 days across the country. So I was initially on the East Coast. I was in North Carolina. I was in Charlotte, North Carolina, and it was such a vibe. Like, if anyone is thinking or considering moving to Charlotte, I definitely champion it. Such a great city. I loved it so much. I learned so much about myself, and it was just so calm. It was everything that I needed. Like, honestly, I wanted to move to a city that was slower than my hometown, and it was, but it wasn't like too slow. I still had access to things that I was comfortable with and stuff like that, but it still allowed me to like calm myself down and cool down the pace in regards to like what I found to be fun, what I found to be like enriching, invigorating, and things like that. So it was so great, but I ended up moving from North Carolina, and then I had a sibling of mine say she was in Texas, and she was like, okay, come to Texas here with me. It's a vibe, like we were able to figure it out. And yeah, so she was like, let's come over there, you come over here, it'll be no problem, whatever, like I support you moving, blah blah blah. And I was definitely going back and forth, like, okay, should I move to Texas, a new place, or should I move back home where I know where I'm going, back to Florida. And I was definitely going back and forth with that literally up until like 2 days before I had to like move. All my stuff was in boxes, like everything was like ready to go. I already had the movers scheduled. I already had like my apartment in Texas. I already had my apartment in Texas, and I was still going back and forth like, dang. Wasn't really sure if I wanted to make this move to Texas, but I just felt in my gut, like, let me just trust myself. Like, this is the initial instinct. Like, it's totally fine. Let's take a break for some frankincense break. Come on, feathers. Come on, feathers. I love it. This video might upset some people because there's truths in here. Yeah, this video might upset some people, but that's okay too. That's okay. That's okay. Being upset is like a human thing. So if someone is upset, that's okay. Anyways, so yeah, long story short, the whole Texas thing, I ended up driving all the way over there by my, like, on my own. I had my car attached in the back. I had this big ass fucking, I think it was like 20-foot like truck thing with all my stuff inside, all my furniture, everything in there. I had my truck on a trailer in the back of that truck, and I drove all the way from North Carolina to Texas. Mind you, Texas is big as fuck. I think the three biggest states in the United States is Florida, Texas, and California. Texas is bigger than a bitch. And then the city that I was going to was like on the edge of Mexico. So I didn't like just get to Texas and was like, okay, yeah, that's fine. Like, for me to get to where I got, it was like a 12-hour drive. 12 hours to drive to the city. Once I got into Texas, it was a 12-hour drive to get to where I was trying to go. So let's just say it was quite an adventure to drive all the way from North Carolina to Texas. Let's just say that. So it was quite an adventure. And then when I got there, things didn't coagulate, or things didn't like schmooze in the way that it should have. It wasn't fitting like the puzzle piece that I initially thought and was hoping that it would be. So long story short, me and my sibling had like an unexpected disagreement that ultimately made me feel like unsafe and unwanted there. So because things were so new and so fresh, I felt like now was the time for me to make another life-changing decision and decide whether or not I want to stay here when I wasn't even there for a week. It was like literally 2-3 days in of me being there, and it was already a rift. So, and it was such a deep rift. So I was just like, this isn't what I need. This isn't what I deserve. So I'm going to hightail it out of here. So I got the hell out and I left. Like within like a few weeks later, like maybe I think 3 weeks after I got there, I ended up leaving and I ended up taking my belongings. I left a lot of my stuff in Texas. I left it behind for my sibling. I'm like, you know what? I don't need all of these things. I know I'm going to like bigger and better things. So all the stuff that is no longer serving me, furniture, clothes, shoes, like wigs, so all kind of stuff. I was like, let me just leave it behind because first of all, I don't need to take it with me. I don't need the space. I knew that I was coming to something bigger and better that was already furnished and all that other stuff because my cup runneth over. And yeah, so I was just like, I'll just keep it there. But I still ended up driving back again from Texas back to Florida. Babe, when I tell you I've been tired, mind you, this is all in the month like between March and April. So yeah, it was the beginning of this year. I've still been like, we're trying to like keep up. Or I thought I was gonna pop out and just be like, surprise, everybody! I've been gone for like a few weeks, but hey, I'm in Texas now. Like, ooh, next to Mexico, I'm across the border with my amigos. Like, it's a vibe, right? I'm thinking gonna be like, hey, like by the way, I moved to Texas, but now it's like, hey, by the way, I moved back home. Hey, I'm back home. Hey. So yeah, definitely like a shocker. And honestly, like when people say, oh, you make a plan, but then like the universe laughs at those plans, it's given the universe was laughing at my plans. I thought I was going to have like a whole experience in Texas and stuff like that. And like, you know, turn the city upside down and paint the town red and everything. Girl, no. So I come back to Florida and yeah, like what I will say though is that even through this experience, I'm back in Florida. I'm very happy to be back in Florida. And especially since I was going back and forth between Texas or Florida, it feels really good to be back at home. And it feels really right to be back at home. I will also say that it felt really right to still have to go to Texas and have that experience in Texas. It felt very right. I still feel grounded in that experience. There's no regrets whatsoever. I feel like that was a necessary stop on my journey for me to be where I'm at right now and for me to feel as grounded as I do and as safe and as I do and as sure as I do. Because if I didn't take that trip and take that risk, I wouldn't feel as like, okay, now I know this was the right thing for me to be back here in Florida, right? It would have been like, oh my God, maybe like, oh, I don't know what would have happened, blah, blah, blah. Would have been a lot of coulda, shoulda, did, coulda, woulda, did. But now I'm just like, okay, no, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be, doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. It's been like painful though, having to reconcile. I want to talk about heartbreak. I've been dealing with like a lot of heartbreak within like, I would say that the last maybe 12 months, I've been dealing with heartbreak with like romantic partners, friendships that have ended, with family members and siblings that no longer, like the relationships just aren't the same. And I used to operate in a way where I would handle all of my romantic relationships similarly, or I would handle my family relationships in a way that felt very like cyclical. Like it would be like a very cyclical way that my familial relationships would go, where I'm very close with these people. I'm sharing deep thoughts and secrets and feelings with these people, with these, persons. And then like maybe some type of disagreement happens. And then now we're like so pushed apart where we're not communicating with each other for like weeks on end, months on end. And then we kind of slowly get back together and we don't really address what the issue was. And then we're back to being like, the best of friends. We're talking every single day. I'm revealing deep dark secrets and feelings and all these other things. And it just was becoming cyclical in that way for my family members. And then for my romantic relationship, it just felt very much like I could discard the people that I was romantically involved with because, first of all, we're in a patriarchy and I feel like men should eat my dust. Honestly, I feel like men should kiss and eat my ass. So I was like treating my romantic relationships very like in a discarding way. I'm just like, I can get another one of you. And that's true. And also like, but what does that mean about me? Like, what does that say about me? So I've just been like going through those kind of like reflective ideas and things like that when it comes to romance, when it comes to friendships, when it comes to family and things like that. So I've been going through like a lot of different forms of heartbreak. Like I have relationships with like really good friends that I've had for like years and years, like over 10-year relationships that have ended or they've shifted, or relationships that I've had with family members who have known me my entire life and they have shifted, right? Same with the romantic partnerships that I used to be able to like just treat very flimsy, and just the idea and concept of those now have shifted for me. And also on top of that, the concept and idea of working and me being able to like find a job easily, all of these things have shifted because I'm going through my Saturn return, and it's just been like a doozy to say the least. Like it's just been a huge doozy, but it's also allowing me to really, really see who I am, like what my morals are, what I stand for, the things that are important to me, and like the type of people that I want to be around, essentially. Yeah, it's been a lot. So yeah, like it's just been like a lot of, it felt like at first stumbling blocks, but if you're constantly resisting against the universe, it's going to feel like stumbling blocks when you're constantly resisting against what is like naturally happening to you, when you're like pushing water up a hill instead of like just allowing it to trickle downward. It feels like there's that resistance. But when there is a pattern of resistance, when there's things that it feels harder than it should be, that's the time to really let go and just let things be what they are. Because other than that, you're exuding unnecessary power when the universe is working with you. If you ride the wave of the universe, if you ride that stream, it's more of a comfortable, gentle ride. Now there are bumps along the way because hello, that's just what life is going to bring you. But at least like for now, the position that I'm in right now, it's just allowing me to deepen the relationship that I have with myself and deepen the relationship that I have with people that uplift the beautiful things that I feel like are important to me. When I magnify the positive and magnify the good, it allows the journey to feel smoother. And that looks like me magnifying the people that bring that positivity, the people that bring that groundedness into my life. But I just wanted to share like where I've been physically on my journey when it comes to like me moving and all those other things, and how I've been so like tired. And I feel like I'm just now getting energy to like actually pour myself into what it is that brings me joy, what it is that I feel like I really want to do. So yeah, but like girl, hopping from over where in the world is Carmen San Diego, bitch, I was here, there, and everywhere on this motherfucking map. Okay, and it felt like it, and I'm just not getting the energy and the strength to like, I feel like okay, I've like recouped in some kind of way. That, and then also like still having to be employed at a job that is very restrictive in comparison to what I'm used to doing when it comes to work. Like now I'm on a more like strict schedule. The people that I work with that are my higher ups are very like, I guess tyrannical would be the word that I could use. Not all of them, but like there's people, it's just, I'm used to working in a nonprofit setting and having to go into something that's a little bit more office setting, corporate-ish. It just feels rigid, it feels systematic, and it feels like cold. So just having to deal with like that being my reality for right now until I figure out exactly where I'm supposed to be, it's gonna come to me. It is what it is, and like yeah, but it's still me realizing that this is just where I am right now doesn't make it like, it makes it a little bit easier, and also it doesn't make it like softer, right? If it's something is hard, if you're in a difficult situation, you're just in a difficult situation, babe. And also, like, I know that, like, trouble don't last always, and I am worthy of, like, glory. So it's coming. It's coming. So I have to describe myself in that. Also, like, I don't want to make this too long, but I just want to say, like, I'm leaning into my dreams and I'm leaning into, like, what feels right. I'm trusting my gut with the things that I'm doing in regards to, like, what feels good internally and even externally. Like, even with just, like, what it is that I'm wearing today, I have, like, green glitter on me and, like, all the makeup that I've done for myself and like the feathers that I have here. Like, I'm just really trusting the things that feel right for me, things that I normally would have hidden away from the public eye or from anyone, honestly, that wasn't myself. I'm now leaning into it and just expressing that freely because, first of all, I'm awesome. Second of all, I feel like I should be able to share exactly who I am at all times. And if there are moments where I feel like I need to hide certain parts of me, that is just showing me that that isn't in an environment that isn't for me. Right? If I have to like hide certain parts of me, I'm clearly in an environment that isn't for Donette. So yeah, I'm just letting my gut be my guide. Girl, got a phone call, girl. Okay, they call it. Anyways, yeah, girl, that's kind of like it. I just want to really amplify the fact that like I'm really leaning into my bad bitchery, and that looks different for everybody. I feel like there's different phases of bad bitchery. I feel like there's different looks of bad bitchery because I've always been a bad bitch. I came out the womb screaming I'm a bad bitch. Okay, came out the womb. Okay, the sun was shining, the birds were chirping, the frogs were croaking. Right when I came out the womb. So yes, and I feel like I'm shifting a little bit what bad bitchery means to me. I'm gonna always be a bad bitch. And also like I am leaning into like my creativity really, really, really. Yes, girl. And then also specifically for my YouTube channel, I just want to talk about like I'm shifting a little bit of the content that I create. I will still be doing things like related to housewives and like sex workers and things like that. But I wanted to also express like other things that are like theoretical and researched and gender affirming and things like that that are related to things outside of reality TV. Though I love reality TV, and I'm not doing it because I'm not stopping or changing because I feel like it's like not classy or anything like that because girl, what is class? Where's the class? I miss class. If you know, you know. There's just shifts coming, and I just wanted to like express that I've changed. I feel like I've been through fire. I feel like I'm still in fire, and when things come out of fire, they're a completely different element. That's deep. But yeah, I feel like I'm being forged in fire right now. But I just wanted to say, hey, I'm still here. I'm still alive. I still am committed to this. It's just gonna be a little bit more pizzazz and in your face and more consistent. Period. I got videos coming. So I have a video right now. I'm posting the videos today. I'm gonna post another one in a few days, and I got another one in the chamber, and I got another one in the chamber, and I got another one in the chamber. Like, period. Like all of this is shifting and allowing me and my mental health to be a little more firm. And girl, I just got routines going on, and I just got plans and like things and just things and just things. So I'm just really grateful for the experience that I'm having as myself. It just feels really good. So me and my feathers, we're gonna like retire and call it a night. But yes, girl, thank you so much for making it this far. I'm very grateful for you watching this video. Thank you so much for subscribing to my channel. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I thank you for doing that right now. So please just go ahead and subscribe right now. This is going to be a great journey, and you want to be a part of this ride, girl. Like, you want to see what's coming next, girl. I promise you that. So please go ahead and subscribe to my channel. Please like the video. And yeah, like, period. Like, period. We out here for real.